What's going on, everyone? Steven here. Today I figured we'd do something a little different and fun. Want to continue playing around with Lua, sort of as an extension from my last video where I showed you how to make a trainer in Lua. Today I'm going to show you how to make an auto clicker. So I was going to use the game Clicker Heroes, but in their DLC they actually sell auto clickers or whatever. So, you know, presumably me showing you how to make an auto clicker in that game when they're trying to sell those would sort of be like me giving you DLC for free, so, you know, anyway. I'm using Sakura Clicker instead. It is free to play and does not sell auto clickers, so that's why I chose it. Alright, so what we're going to do is play around with some different methods with Lua and do some different things here. So let's just jump right in. First thing that we want to do with a clicker is, you know, with this type of game, you click, 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 and that's basically how you win. Click as fast as you can. You'll have boss fights in this game where the bosses see this enemy's number up here. The boss will have way more health. Anyway, the farther you get, the more health they have. So what we want to do is automate the clicking of this. Alright, now of course we could find health and set it to whatever we want. We could find gold and set it to whatever we want. That's not the point of this tutorial. The point of this tutorial is just to have fun and to, you know, for me to teach some things. Hopefully you'll learn a lot. So, alright, the way that I'm going to approach this clicker is I want to get current health, and if it's greater than 0, then click really fast automatically. So there's a couple of mechanisms that we need to bear in mind here. Her name was Bear, and so is this one. That's funny. Bear in mind. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is attach cheat engine or open the process here. So Sakura clicker. Alright, and now that we are we got the process open with the cheat engine, we want to scan for health. So I already know that in this game it is of type double. If you didn't know that, you would have probably gone crazy if you tried 4-byte scans, so just FYI. Let's hit once, 36. Alright, we have one left. Alright, so here we have our health address, presumably. Let's set it down to 5 and see what happens. Alright, and then click twice, and she's a goner, so that is health. Instead of doing the AOB scan like I always do, let's try to pointer scan for it, since this is a small enough game and shows some of you who, you know, I normally don't use this, but, you know, sometimes it's really handy. Generate pointer map. I'll just call this 1, save it. Now the first time you scan, and if it's a big game, this can take a really long time, but since this is a small game, we won't have to wait too long. Now once we have results, which should have popped up there, so that's not very cool. Alrighty then, let's try that again. Right click, pointer scan for this address. Okay, scan for address. Yep, we've got that. Once again, we'll do 1. What did I do the first time? Let's see, pointer scan for address. Did I? I must have done generate pointer map. Yeah, that's what I did. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, that's another thing. But pointer scan for this address, that's what I wanted to do, so we're going to scan for the address, and I'm not going to worry about doing the pointer map thing right now because, once again, this is a small enough game. Call this 1. We'll let this do its scan. Could have just referenced that pointer map I just made, but just pretend that didn't happen. Alright, so now that we've got that, these are our initial results, about 1800 or so. We want to whittle that down, of course, so what we can do is close the game and then reopen the game. And once that's open, we are going to scan again by a value. Alright, so see here, the health is 40. Don't forget to reopen the process with cheat engine. Yes. Okay, and now what we want to do is go pointer scanner, rescan memory, check value to find. We'll select double from here, put in 40, just click OK. We'll save this as 2. Alright, now we're down to 44 paths. Okay, so you could whittle this down however far you needed to until it just stopped, you know, giving you whatever. But what you can do now is just double click, you know, however many you want, select sampling, or, you know, whatever. Right click here, create header, I'll call this health pointers, and then you can group all those under health pointers. And oh whoops, you have to actually click on the last one that's selected. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so got all my health pointers there. Right click here, group config, hide children when deactivated. Okay, show and hide that. Let's say we identify one of these as being like the particular pointer. Alright, so this will be one step in what we're going to need for what we're going to do here with our script. We want to actually build out the string of the pointer. Alright, so here, the pointer scan results, it has them as, you know, type pointer, or pointer selected, and we just set the offsets from whatever base address this is. Okay, we want to build the string version of that, so what we'll do is copy this, and I just like to do it right up in here. We'll paste that, surround that with brackets. Okay, and it goes from bottom, from the base up. So we'll do plus offset D8. Alright, it's going to be a close bracket, plus 4, close bracket, plus 760. Alright, so we want to have the same number of brackets on each side, so we count 1, 2, 3 total brackets. We already have 1, so let's do 2, 3. Double click, triple click. Yeah, it's not going to select past that space. Alright, so highlight it, copy it. We can just cancel that, go to add address manually, paste it here. Let's go health, select double, and say OK. And there we go. That's the string version of that particular pointer. Alright, and I'll show you what that's for in a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and close that for the moment. Let's set this to 30, and we see it does change the health here. Okay, so now what we want to do is let's place the mouse somewhere in a particular region within here, you know, the clickable area, and have things run after the mouse has been placed in the proper spot. So, how in the world do we do that? I'm going to bring up Google here, and let's go to Cheat Engine Lua Wiki. Alright, and we're going to type in the word mouse. Okay, input devices. We have a few methods available to us. Get mouse position returns X and Y coordinates. Set mouse position sets them. We have mouse event, which lets us use the Windows API mouse event. We're going to be using each of these. Alright, so going to be learning a good little bit here. So let's just open get mouse, set mouse, and mouse event, as well as this link to the API. And then one more that we're going to need is virtual key codes. Alright, virtual key codes. Okay, so now that we have all these things open, the first thing we want to do is get our mouse position. Alright, and so when you run that, if you do it like this, you know, you can just run the function here, and if you run that, it will return the X position and the Y position of the mouse. So the way the mouse works on the screen here, you know, we're moving it in circles, but going from left to right, that's the X axis, and then up and down is the Y axis. So, you know, we can reference the mouse anywhere it is on the screen by those two axes, right? So what we're going to do first is copy that, and then we're going to go to Memory View. That opened up my second monitor. Tools, Lua Engine. Okay, and so actually, let me bring that back up. Just kind of keep it in the background there. Lua Engine. Okay, now if we paste get mouse position, it's not going to do anything because we need to print the results of that to the screen. So print get mouse position. Alright, so let's say we want our mouse to be right here on the screen. We want to set our mouse right there before it starts auto-clicking. Alright, well, I'm going to click execute here, but if I click execute here, it's going to give me the mouse position like right at the point it executes. So we can put the execute button basically right where we want the mouse to be positioned over the screen, and then we can click execute. Alright, see these two numbers here? 2137X, 790Y. Okay? So now that we have that, what we could do is say, oops, we'll do set mouse position, and we'll just enter those numbers, 2137, comma, 790. Let's move this over here. Whoops. I'm going to click it and watch where the mouse goes, the pointer. It's over here now, right where we were. Alright, so if we want to set the mouse in a particular spot, first we find the spot, then we set it there. Simple, right? So, we've got that. Alright, let's see, now what do we want to do? We've got our set mouse position. That'll be the first thing that we run. We want to set the mouse where it's going to be. Alright, the second thing that we want is we're going to want to read our health so that we know what to do with that, right? So what we can do is say local, which is just, I mentioned this in the last video, but it's something called scope. You don't necessarily have to do this, I just like to do it. You know, you can type local or not, but I'm going to say health address equals, and I am going to use local because I like to do that. Health address equals, now remember what we set up earlier? The string version? Let's copy that. Alright. So what you want to do here is do single quotes. Not backticks, but single quotes. Then we'll paste. Okay? So the double quote thing, we want that on the inside of whatever the single quotes are. Alright, so we're going to pass this as a string to read double. The read double function here of Cheat Engine. Whoops, that's not the one. This one. Keep it nice and low number of tabs. I always have a million tabs open in my Chrome. Excuse me. So, read double. That's how we read a double value from a specified address. And of course, there is also write double, as you might expect. So, what we want to do is say local health equals read double, and then we can just pass it health address, because health address is already formatted as the string. Otherwise, we would have to pass it as the string in here, just like we have it up here. But we're going to do something else with health, so it's just nice and tidy to keep that long unwieldy string in its own little variable there. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I want to do is create a while loop, and I want to check for a couple of conditions here. So let me first off say that you can get in a little bit of a pickle if you're playing around with the mouse and you run some stuff in here like setting the mouse position or constantly doing something. While you're doing something with the mouse event function that we're going to look at here in a minute, presumably Cheat Engine will keep running that thing. So let's say you're constantly running left clicks. Well, wherever you actually point the mouse anywhere on your screen, it's going to be still doing that behavior. So it's not held just to the game. There's probably a way to keep it to do it on the game window, whether it's, you know, defining a boundary of the position of the mouse and only doing the clicks in that region or something like that. But anyway, just beware that you can kind of hijack your mouse behavior if you're not careful. So it's all part of the learning process. If you do it, whatever, you'll learn. Okay, so I'm going to do a while loop, and I want to check for the condition of health. So while health is greater than 0, okay, do, and then we'll have end. Alright, and so within this while loop is what we're going to have happening, you know, while this condition isn't satisfied. Okay? Alright, so to kind of bake in some safety here with what I was just talking about, we want to have a couple of things that I guess will stop the behavior of the while loop. Alright, and the first thing we could just say is if is key pressed, vk escape, and I'll show you what that is. Then we could say like break, okay, and then end. So if the escape key is pressed, break out of the while loop, okay. But what we could also do is, let's say we only want this script to happen with one character. We could also say like if health is equal to 0 or the escape key is pressed, then we'll break. Okay, so hopefully you're following along so far. Pretty simple stuff going on here logically. Alright, so now that we have that, what I wanted to show you is we'll go with the is key pressed. So Control F is key pressed. So go here. This tells you about what is key pressed does, and it's just, it takes in virtual key code and does whatever you want with that. And that's why I went here, the virtual key codes. So here, left mouse button. If you wanted that to be, you know, clicked or to monitor for something, you would reference it like that. Excuse me. So I did escape. So this is where you could search for the escape key, right? Escape key, vk underscore escape. That's what we will pass to Cheat Engine. So the virtual key codes is what you'll need to know for is key pressed. All right. So that's the is key pressed thing. We've got that baked in. All right. So now what we want to do is we're going to want to update health every time this loop runs. We're going to have to check health again, right, to see if it's increased or decreased. Otherwise, it'll just keep seeing health as whatever we read it as initially, and this value won't ever change. It'll be the same thing over and over and over, right? So creating an infinite loop basically is what you would do for the moment here. So all that we need to do is copy this, not the local part, and just paste that there. So it's going to assign to health whatever the value of health is. So, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to have it click, it's going to attack, and then the while loop will read health, okay? We'll check health, and then it will set health to reading its value, do the stuff, and here health will be less, right? So that's pretty much how that works. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to click the mouse. We want to have the mouse click. So how do we do that? Well, luckily, dang it, I keep clicking on my thing here. Now what I was looking at here was like in Lua, I just wanted to see if there were any good ways to specify float, int, double, whatever, because Lua doesn't like discern, it just has a numerical type essentially. So anyway, that's beside the point. Let's go to where I really wanted to go. The mouse event here. Alright, let's go. I can't go back. So there's nothing with the mouse event in the wiki here, so this is one of the areas that mouse event Cheat Engine could be a little better. However, whatever. Simple enough. What we're going to do is you could just Google that if you wanted, mouse event. These are the mouse events. Okay, so we've got you know, the right button is down, the right button is up, the left button is down, the left button is up on the mouse. Okay, so we're going to want to simulate both of those. All right, the, you know, down up, down up. Alright, and if you actually read through here, it will tell you that the values that specify mouse button status are set to indicate changes in status, not ongoing conditions. For example, if the left mouse button is pressed and held down, then mouse event left down is set when the left button is first pressed, but not for subsequent motions. Alright, so what that means is, let's say you had a script that you wanted to detect if the left mouse button is down, like continuously. You wouldn't use this one, because what this is going to do is simulate the click. Okay, the virtual key code is where you would go and detect if the left mouse button is down or the right mouse button, etc. Okay, so virtual key codes, mouse event functions. Just like with the is key pressed, we passed this. With Cheat Engine's mouse event, we're going to pass this, right? So what we're going to want to do is the left button is the one that clicks, that does the stuff. So we're going to want these two here. Okay, we're going to copy. Alright, so right here, we're going to go space, space, and then mouse event. And then in here we can pass that down, okay? And then what we want to do is sleep, alright? And this is in milliseconds, so if we sleep for 1,000, that would sleep for 1 second. 500 is half a second. I'm going to go, yeah, we'll do 500, just to show, okay? And then what it'll do is, we can say mouse event, alright, left up. So it's going to sleep, and then it's going to do the mouse up. Alright, so if all went well here, what's going to happen whenever I click this is, I'm going to move this off the screen here, it'll move the mouse into position, and it will click until health is 0, and then it will stop. So let's see what happens when I click execute. Alright, see how every half second there, it's quote-unquote clicking, and now it's stopped. Okay, so cool, that's basically like if we wanted to do it on that specific condition. Well, how about we just want to plow through, and let's set that to 10, and instead of health equals 0, we don't want to worry about it stopping on that, so we'll cut that, and it's just going to look for the escape key. That's going to be the thing that we make it stop with. Okay, so I'm going to say execute. Alright, toast. Okay, it's still stopped. Why did it stop? Okay, so if is key pressed, v escape, then break. While health is greater than 0, do this. Alright, it must still be detecting health as being 0 with the character after it's done. So, you know, you could just write whatever condition you wanted. Let's say, let's do local stop equals 0. Alright, check this out. Instead, we could say stop equals 1. Okay, if health is greater than 0, right, and stop is equal to 0. Alright, then we'll have it run. But, yeah, if we press escape, it'll set stop to 1, which will toggle that, and it should hopefully stop our script. We wouldn't need the break in there. Or maybe we would. Anyway, let's just go execute and see what happens here. Oh, that also didn't work because this condition will still mess with that. So let's just do this. While stop is equal to 0, alright, then just keep on going. And then once we hit escape, there we go, I just hit escape, and that worked. So, go back to our script here, and yeah, you could just let this thing run and run and run. So eventually what'll happen is the characters, or the bosses at least, will get so high up in health that it won't be able to click fast enough to quote-unquote defeat the boss, I guess you could say. So, you know, you might have to mess with some modifications of doing a little more damage based on certain conditions, or whatever you want. So at this point with the script, you could take it and, you know, pop it in the Lua cheat engine template, whatever, and make a trainer if you wanted, and have this thing just go to town, let it run overnight, get some gold, whatever. So anyway, just a short little tutorial here. I thought you might enjoy seeing something slightly different, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new to the channel, make sure to check out my other tutorials. With my last video, I showed you how to make a trainer from scratch in Lua with Cheat Engine, so definitely check that out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.